Okay, I don't hear any breathing, so I should be fine. Hello everyone, welcome to The Hot Take, and this is Five Nights at Freddy's 4, an indie horror game you guys have been asking me to play. Wait, happy Halloween everyone! I hope that you all have a great spooky season. As for me, I'll be fine. After all, I've got this lovely little fox to keep me company. Look at him, he's so cute. He wouldn't hurt us all. I'm sorry. I couldn't pass up that opportunity. Five Nights at Freddy's 4 is a game that has lived rent-free in my head ever since it came out. A game has never been able to scare me so much, yet captivate my attention as much as it does. The first 3 games in the franchise have always fascinated me with their gameplay, but FNaF 4 takes it a step further by scaring the living daylights out of me in every way possible. Just to start, right off the bat, or the animatronics. Some may argue that the overuse of decay and claws are such a big turnoff for them, but for me it's quite the opposite. The tears in the suit just go to show how much they've been through, and that something much deeper than electricity has to be powering these animatronics if they're still moving. Not only that, but the sheer amount of teeth and claws is unnerving for me. I know, the claws and teeth are cringy and overdone. I can see why some say that, but in my opinion, these designs are really off-putting, and just looking at them unnerves me. Not only that, but look at how buff these animatronics are. Like, geez, bro, you don't have to hit the gym twice a day. Also, I don't know what it is, I can't describe it, but Nightmare Bonnie. Just Nightmare Bonnie. I don't know what it is. Another part of this game is the concept, having the animatronics actually come to your house. Sure, the lore will try to jump over every explanation that makes Occam's razor gush, but just on the surface, this petrifies me. Think about it. Big, 7-foot-tall robots break into your house and try to hunt you, a child, down and kill you. I mean, what do you do in this situation? Die, I guess. What's that? Yeah, like that. Speaking of, the idea that this poor, innocent child is on his deathbed, using the context clues handed out in the game, adds a whole new level of fear onto the pile. This crying child, who might be named Evan but who definitely isn't, probably maybe not Michael, is fighting for his life, physically against a grave injury. What's that? And mentally against an army of evil animatronics. I mean, it could also be the aforementioned Michael being tortured by his father for the actions of his brother, using gas that helps him hallucinate these animatronics as punishment for what he did, but that's too complicated. So in this video, I will interpret the player to be the crying child, because that's much easier than doing mental gymnastics to get to Michael being the person, the player. That guy. The fact that the crying child not only was petrified of these animals because he witnessed a child be put into the forever sleep, not only was his birthday party at this place, not only was he tormented by his brother all throughout the week leading up to his birthday, but he was also killed at this place. What's that? This poor kid cannot catch a break. All jokes aside, there's something so frightening about witnessing this innocent child being mentally and physically broken down over time, watching him cry and cry, then watch him panic as he gets taken to Fredbear, and... What's that? I guess I should start talking about the actual gameplay, huh? Number 17, the menu theme. I have been legally advised to stop there. Let's run a quick little experiment, yeah? I'm gonna play a few seconds of the main menu screen theme to help set the mood of the actual game, okay? Okay, here we go. Pretty scary, huh? This menu theme helps to set the mood of the game very well. It isn't loud. It isn't bombastic. It isn't outrageously trying to be spooky. It doesn't even have anything outright scary in it. Just looking at the other Five Nights at Freddy's title screens and then looking at FNaF 4, there's nothing inherently scary about it. It's eerie, allowing your imagination to fill in the gaps of what lies inside the game, which makes it all the scarier. It's why most horror movies don't show the actual monster until the very end. It's the anticipation of what the monster actually looks like that makes the movie scarier than it actually is, in terms of the monster design at least. I'm mainly going to be focusing on the night gameplay in this video, because it's really the only part of the video that keeps me up all night. First of all, playing this game is incredibly difficult. Case in point.
Okay, so the first night is never usually that bad in any of the games, so I'll play through.
See what I mean? The gameplay is not as easy as the other FNaF games. To help prove this point, I have played the first 4 games in the franchise, where the first 2 I knew how to play, but the third game I didn't know how to play. All 3 games didn't pose any level of difficulty, well, except for the fact that I'm not a very good gamer. Despite this, I was still able to comprehend the mechanics of the games and play through each successfully, namely for FNaF 3. While FNaF 4 does tell you how to play the game with little text boxes on the first night, I did not find these mechanics to be all too helpful. Why? Well, the game relies entirely on sounds, where you have to listen to the animatronics breathing to identify if they're at the door or not. Side note, robots don't breathe, so what? Secondly, this mechanic did not work for me at all, or it didn't seem to work, at least at a medium volume, which meant that I had to crank my volume all the way up. And here's your me fun fact of the month: my ears are very sensitive, so loud noises startled me a lot. Ergo, cranking up the volume plus sensitive ears plus being a bad gamer equals a lot of loud noises. But wait, there's more, because even with the volume 80 to the max, I still couldn't hear the breathing. Probably because they don't breathe. Whatever the reason was, I couldn't hear the breathing, which made me incredibly nervous. I'm not exaggerating when I say this. It made me so nervous that I shook with fear. I don't scare easily, much less shake from the fear. However, that doesn't mean the nervousness doesn't set in. And when it sets in hard. My hands begin to shake, my thoughts become erratic, and the anticipation of the jump scares activates my fight or flight response. Ah! Whew. Okay. That's always the scariest part. Okay. We're doing Just overall, the gameplay freaks me out. Generally, I can deal with Freddy and Foxy, since they're much easier than Chica and Bonnie. Again, this could be just a moment of get good, but generally, I have a lot of trouble beating this game, since I get so skittish and end up making the dumbest decisions seen to man. Another thing that makes this game so scary is the atmosphere set by the game. In the nighttime segments, the screen will be completely dark in the areas the flashlight cannot hit. Already, the fear of the unknown begins to set in, where you cannot focus on all aspects of the room. You can only focus on one. Yes, this is a focal point in other FNaF games, where the cameras are always used as a way of tracking the animatronics. But here, you have close to no way of tracking them visually. Freddy is always behind you, and you have to check him to make sure he doesn't get the better of you. And Foxy cannot be seen from the middle of the room. You have to run across the room and make sure he isn't. Well, that was just mean. The only real sound effects besides the jump scares are the flashlight clicks, the scuttling across the floor sounds the player makes, the creaking of doors, and the droning sounds the Freddles and the other animatronics make. The flashlight and scuttling sounds help to break the tension between moving from one place to another, but other than that, everything else makes the atmosphere much more nerve-wracking. The creaking door evokes the feelings of a child sneaking around their house in the dead of night, which is essentially what's happening, aside from the fact that instead of looking for a midnight snack, there are robots seeking to demise this poor innocent child. Sorry, I'm still hung up about that. The droning of the animatronics certainly doesn't help. The Freddles' noises almost sound like they're screaming, maybe in pain being in light. Of course, what's a Five Nights at Freddy's game soundboard without the jump scare sound effects? The screams sound a lot like the original FNaF jump scares, but with the growl of a large animal spliced in as well, and also screams of a child as well, almost like you can hear the player screaming. What I also have noticed is a blink and you'll miss it soundbite that plays at the very beginning. Listen very closely. Did you hear it? It sounds like the chomp effect that plays at the very end of the game. Every time the animatronics kill you, they play the very last sound the crying child heard right before he died. One jump scare stands out from the rest though: nightmares. This creature seems to mimic Nightmare Fredbear's design, but with black fur and a yellow hat. He also seems semi-transparent, hence why I call him a creature and not a robot. Some theorize that Nightmare is the embodiment of death coming to retrieve the crying child, and since we live in a day and age where thinking for yourself is a sin, I'm inclined to agree. Plus, I don't have any other ideas for what he is. I do like this though. If he is ushering the crying child into the afterlife, it's a great idea that they used Fredbear's design. What better creature to escort him than the creature that took his own life? Very smart, if it was intentional. One side thing I would like to talk about is a game mode from FNaF Help Wanted, that being Night Terrors. Now, I don't personally own an Oculus, but I do have a friend who owns one, so I asked to borrow his to play Help Wanted, and wow, was this an adventure. FNaF 1 was really fun. 2 was much easier than I thought, and 3 is incredibly good at setting an environment, making the green filter that I didn't like work much better in Help Wanted than it did in FNaF 3. The FNaF 4 equivalent for this game, though, went much worse. When I say worse, I don't mean bad. I mean that if FNaF 4 scares me, then Night Terrors absolutely terrifies me. When I was playing the game for the first time, and even now as I write this script, I still have no idea how to play. I know the general premise, keep Funtime Freddy away from you, but as to how you actually do that, it still remains a mystery to me. I would assume it's like FNaF 4, where you listen to his breathing and shut the door to ward him off, and use the flashlight when he isn't close to the door. But 2 things stand out with that statement. A, robots do not breathe! And B, I couldn't, for the life of me, hear any breathing at all. I think the games are starting to gaslight me. Also, side note to the side note, Night Terrors isn't exclusively a Funtime Freddy level. The mode does involve other characters, but I haven't been able to get that far cause I don't know how to. So combine what scares me about FNaF 4 with a VR setting, where instead of playing as someone who's experiencing all of this, I am the person that's experiencing this, and you get what makes this minigame so scary to me. But not just that, you also have to fight off Bonbon and Bonnet, who aren't able to kill you, but do jump scare you without rhyme or reason, which makes me much more skittish than I thought I could be. I become so irrationally jumpy. It is not anything to scoff at. If I knew how to play this game, it would probably be easier, but as it stands, I do not. Making this the scariest FNaF experience I have ever gone through. Well, actually, that's a lie. Corn Maze is the scariest experience FNaF has to offer, in my opinion. I have been legally advised to say that is my opinion, or else the FNaF fans will come at me with pitchforks and try to murder me. After reading on the wiki how to actually play this minigame, I can now say confidently Bonnet being in the closet was the leading cause for my death. Mainly because I didn't know you were supposed to close the door, but also because I couldn't hear any breathing or noise when I checked the hallways. FNaF 4, I respect what you do. You create an atmosphere that most games can only dream of creating, but said atmosphere unnerves me to no end. You make me scream at the silly little bear giving me a hug, and you leave me shaking. Yes, I really am afraid of the CGI robot monsters. So, in short, FNaF 4, I hope you die in a fire. That's it. That's the end of the video. Go away!
Spooky time, my favorite time, when we can act a fool without a reason why. Spending my whole paycheck at the Spirit Halloween. Dressing as a Fortnite default, only half ironically. Spooky time, a magic time, when 12 was